Hey, in this video, I'm going to tell you what the best features are of the Pixel 6 Pro, what makes it stand out, and why you should definitely consider getting this phone over any other phone. Let's go ahead and take a look. A super important feature is going to be battery life. You're not gonna have any problems with battery life on the Pixel 6 Pro. You got finally a 5,000 milliamp battery that'll definitely give you all day battery life. That's the standard of phones nowadays. If you don't have a 5,000 milliamp battery, you're pretty much not going to get the best battery life. And when you mix it up with the software and the chip inside the Google 6 Pro, this will definitely give you all day, maybe 2 days of battery life. Battery life will not be a problem. So that's one huge feature, is the big old battery. Although it's been found on other phones, finally Google has it in the flagship and you can run the phone all day. You're gonna wanna use it all day, and it'll definitely provide all day battery life. Next big feature of the Pixel 6 Pro is 12 gigs of RAM. A lot of other phones are only rocking 8 gigs of RAM, and that's perfectly fine. Even 6 gigs of RAM is perfectly fine. But when you have 12 gigs of RAM, you know that you're not gonna run into any problems running several apps in the background. This is great for power users that have tons of apps in the background. You wanna be switching back and forth between apps, opening and switching and opening and switching. You shouldn't have a problem. For most apps and most people, this is not going to be an issue even if you had less amounts of RAM, but this definitely makes it future-proof. So even if you don't harness the full power of 12 gigs of RAM today, it'll definitely help you out later on if you change your habits, and it just future-proofs the phone. Next big feature is going to be 3 years of updates. Now, this is a Pixel phone. Pixels always get releases on the first day of new Android updates, and you're gonna get 3 years of that. You got nice stock versions of Google, super snappy, super smooth, super nice to look at, and you're gonna get the updates on day one. 3 years is good enough. iPhones are, have 5, 6, 7 years of updates, but then the hardware really gets old and the phone doesn't, feel as snappy and good. So you know what? For 3 years, I'll take it. The software will still be very, very good on the hardware in 3 years. And I think after 3 years, you should be able to sell off your phone and buy a new one. So 3 years is a sweet spot for software updates. One huge underrated feature of the Pixel 6 Pro is going to be in the selfie camera department. Now you're gonna get a 4K ultra wide selfie camera. Now that is not normal in a Android phone, even in the high-end phones. I think the Pixel 3 was the one that introduced a selfie camera with an ultra-wide lens, and finally Google's bringing it back. So not only is it ultra-wide, but you're getting it in 4K. So that means if you're trying to fit in a lot of people and taking pictures and videos, that selfie camera is going to really stand out from all the other cell phones out there. Next huge feature of the Pixel 6 Pro is going to be its huge 89% screen to body ratio display. So not only you're getting a big old display, but it takes up all of the front of the device, 89%. So it's pretty much minimal bezel. So if you're into big old screen phones and you like a lot of content and scrolling and just watching movies and looking at the web and all that stuff, using it as a viewfinder for pictures and videos, this is it. It's just big and beautiful, pretty much all screen. Another feature is that Google is finally bringing 120 hertz refresh rate to the flagship department of the Pixels. So not only you get that big old screen, but it's gonna be smooth scrolling, buttery smooth. Once you get the 120 hertz refresh rate and you're coming from a 60 hertz or a 90 hertz display, this is going to spoil you. This is what makes this phone really, really pro. Google is finally bringing 120 hertz. Other manufacturers have done it, but now you get it in a Pixel with all that Google stuff, hardware and software, and you finally get to scroll super smooth all day. The next super big feature of the Pixel 6 Pro is being shared with its cheaper, smaller Pixel 6 brother. It is the Tensor Chip. And this is important because Google finally has made its own chip for its own Pixel line. And that means that this phone is going to get really, really great performance. And since this is going to be, it's going to help out Google's algorithm and, AI intelligence, this is going to bring a lot more features later on down the road. So this is, again, future-proofs the phone being its own chip, and it's gonna be faster, and it can finally compete with iPhone chips. So finally we're gonna get, you know, raw power. We're gonna get more out of it from the Pixel line. Next and last but not least, the best feature of the Pixel 6 Pro is going to be the camera system. We have a great camera system. Finally, it can compete and blow Apple out of the water. This is not only the best Android experience for camera and video and pictures, but it finally competes with Apple in the super flagship camera category and lenses and everything. You're gonna get all the goodness that Google has been bringing to the Pixel line for a while, but now it just gets better and better. 50 megapixel main camera. You have that 48 megapixel telephoto, so you can zoom in real good. And if you want to take it back and have a lot more in the frame, you got that ultra wide. So pretty much you have the best in-class camera system finally that brings it all together with a flagship Google Pixel phone. So quick recap, the best features of the Pixel 6 Pro are a big battery, 12 gigs of RAM, 3 years of updates, ultra wide 4K selfie camera, huge 89% display screen to body ratio, 120 Hz refresh rate, the Google Tensor Chip, and the best in-class camera in the Google Pixel 6 Pro. Definitely a great phone, very impressive. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.